Welcome back. Rochester Police Chief LaRon Singletary, the latest chief to step down from his post as unrest sweeps through major U.S. cities. The entire Rochester Police Command staff sending shock waves with their departure after the death of Daniel Prude.
So how dangerous is this alarming trend? National Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Joe Gamaldi, joins us now. Joe, thanks as always for being here. Let's pop up the graphic that shows at least 13 police chiefs resigning since George Floyd's death. The big cities, Dallas, Rochester, Seattle, Richmond, Atlanta, Portland, a lot more as well. How dangerous, Joe, is this for our country?
Well, you know, the police chief stepping down in Rochester as a result of the assassination on his character, that entire department, and law enforcement as a whole is just extremely disturbing. And this is a pattern of the take no prisoners mob that we're dealing with. They're running the experienced and talented leadership out of our profession when we need the leadership the most, because it's the most tumultuous time we've ever had. And they're running it at the door. And oftentimes they're the most progressive among us. The chiefs in Portland, Seattle, Atlanta, all run out, and subsequently they're minorities as well who rose up through our ranks. And what this coordinated and vicious attack on law enforcement has done is it's driving our best and brightest out of the door. It's creating an experience vacuum. But frankly, what it's really doing is killing the next generation of police officers. Law enforcement applications were already down 63% last year. And in a recent poll from Caliber of 10,000 police officers, only 7% said they would recommend someone becoming a police officer. 7%. Wow. And as we see people continuing to call us killers and the king of killers that was said earlier, and they're saying death to police officers, and there's 100 days of riots, who's going to want to take this job?
Yeah, no, you said it. And, you know, we're over 100 days of protesting in Portland and Seattle. Now in Rochester, you have the mayor and the police union chief calling on each other to resign. So there's chaos everywhere regarding policing. What's it going to take for this to end? For police to feel like they can do their jobs and for African-American and minority communities to feel safe under police protection?
Well, I think it's really important at this point for everybody to just take a breath and let's sit down and have a conversation, because ultimately when these events happen, you have extreme emotions on both sides, and everybody needs to slow down. We need to talk about different reforms that could possibly be made to making the profession safer for us and for the community. But at some point, we're going to need to have a conversation about these suspects that are involved in some of these cases, because right away when there's a use of force, the immediate finger pointing starts at police officers. But let's start talking about the other side. Let's start talking about how people need to comply with police officers so that we can have better outcomes. Because I don't care how much you reform us or how many changes you make, unless we stop the violence on the other side towards our police officers, which is, by the way, through the roof this year, as shootings of police officers are up 32% since 2018, we're never going to get to a place where we can have an honest conversation about what law enforcement is going to look like in this country.
Well said.
Joe, meantime, Operation Legend is being credited for decreasing Chicago's murder rate to its lowest that it's been at any time since April. Why does Operation Legend seem to work so well?
You know, my goodness, what a novel concept here. We actually decide that we're going to throw the book at gun-toting dirtbags who are shooting people in the street, and we see a reduction in shootings of over half since they started this. It's almost as if law and order actually works.
Right.
So, you know, I want to thank the Attorney General and thank the President for deploying Operation Legend in Chicago and being able to make a huge difference in crime there. But I think it really shows when you are willing to back the hardworking men and women of law enforcement. If you had politicians and district attorneys who are actually interested in reducing crime in their neighborhoods and taking the felons off the streets, taking the people who
Seems
are actually
logical,
pulling
Joe.
the trigger and throwing the book at them, we can make a big difference.
Seems logical.
Yeah, it's an example of, you know, going back to broken windows policing, punishing people who commit crimes, getting them off the streets, making them an example so further, more violent crimes don't happen. Joe, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.